Hello and welcome back to the Fractured Rooster. As always, I'm Josh, and today we're going to finish up the Prius that I bought in the Prius video. If you didn't catch it, we bought a Prius, a 2013 Prius V, the wagon, the kind of the uglier one. It's got a couple of small mechanical defects and some larger, I don't know, cosmetic defects. We bought the car cheap in the hopes to turn a couple dollars profit. I don't know, the margins are looking a little slimmer the more we invest in this car. So the previous owner dropped the car off at a shop, and they said it needed pads, rotors, a brake accumulator, a brake pump, a master cylinder, and a water pump. And they quoted him over $4,000, maybe $5,000 to do all this work, and he said, no, I'm not going to do it. That's way more than the car's worth. By the time he gets the loan paid off and has a $5,000 worth of repairs, he's going to be far too upside down. He'd rather take that $5,000 and go spend it on a newer car. So in I come, and we buy this ugly, kind of a hoopty of a Prius. It's got a lot of terrible body repair done on it, which I didn't know at the time. I might have negotiated or maybe even passed on the car if I did, but it is what it is. It's been kind of a fun project. I don't think we're going to get hurt on it. We might break even, but hey, if I can break even, get out from under this car, I'll be completely happy. We're going to throw all those parts on, and when we're done, we're going to clean it up, vacuum it out, clean up the interior best as we can. The interior in the car is actually pretty good. The outside, it's lived a rough life. So we're going to clean it up as best as we can and get that thing listed and out of our hair. Hopefully we make a buck or two. Get this car out of my hair. I don't even have hair. And we're back at Impact Detailing. The parts showed up for the Prius. They're here staged on the bench. We have a new water pump. We're going to be going to get a new battery and new front and rear brakes. As you can see, we've also got it up on the lift, and if I can figure out this flashlight, we'll take a look underneath the Prius to see if there's anything we've missed so far. As you can see, those brakes are they've got quite a lip on them. They're hammered. Stepping farther under the car, we haven't noticed anything of major repair yet. The sway bar end links, the upper joints and even the bottom joints are a little dry rotted. They're starting to leak a little bit, but the tie rod ends, ball joints, even the CV shafts, all the boots look good. Nothing leaking or oozing. And the only damp part of the engine is right behind the timing cover on the front, and that doesn't look like it needs to be addressed. The exhaust is in good repair, still has its cat, ironically. It was parked outside of a shop, kind of in the hood for a few months, or at least a couple weeks. I'm surprised that's still there. Rear brakes, although rusty, still function fine. I'm sure they need replaced as well, so we just bought pads and rotors to do front and rear. There's not much of a lip. There's actually no lip on the rear brakes, but we're going to do them anyway. Which brings us, from this angle, you can see the worst part of the car. Looks like the doors have been repainted at least once, if not twice, and there's some terrible mud work that's gone on in there. The bumper, it's hammered. I guess it'd be the most accurate description there would just be absolutely hammered. This rear door, you can see the sanding lines in the door where someone just didn't quite do the finish work before they sprayed it. And then the Sahara Desert of sanding that's gone on in this door, that's absolutely awful. It's like they used a die grinder to sand that down. And then you step up to the front fender that's been freshly coated with clear to blend out their bodywork, and, well, it's many shades of gray. Not quite 50, but there's a lot. I would bet some little old lady owned this car and maybe her eyesight was going a little bit, so she kind of drove by feel often, maybe in and out of the garage and around parking lots, because there's lots of damage to every single corner of this car, but none of it's substantial enough to warrant, like, you know, a police report or a vehicle accident. These are just little bumps and bruises, but they are just absolutely everywhere on this car. And unfortunately, these doors, I don't know if I want to be able to look at these much longer in their current condition, so we're scouring the internet trying to find a salvage yard that's got some good used doors in the same color that we can just bolt right on. But I think we're just going to get it mechanically sound today and start driving it a little bit and list it for probably a deal for somebody as a good daily driver commuter. Maybe I would bet a lot of people don't really honestly mind all the bumps and bruises. Because like I said, it's all cosmetic. None of the frame has been bent. You know, the fender hasn't been pushed into the door. So I think people will be all right driving. If they're just going to go down the highway back and forth to work at $4 a gallon these days, I think someone will appreciate a bruised car. That way they don't have to worry about putting a scratch on it. So today's mission is brakes and water pump. I think, Cameron, are you going to start doing some detail work on the inside or outside?
Yeah, I'm going to try. We need to get it clayed. It is covered in overspray. So we'll try to get it clayed and see what it looks like after that.
Okay, well, without further ado, we're just going to get after it. We'll throw a time lapse up and get some brakes swapped. We'll lower it down so Cameron can have access to most of the car. Well, as you can see, the passenger side's got a near identical lip. So we're going to tag team these brakes real quick. Knock out front and rear together. Cameron works on one side, I'll work on the other. Or maybe one of us works on front, one work on rear. That's probably smarter because
probably works out better.
Once you figure one side out, you're twice as fast on the other side.
Yeah.
So 14s and I'm going to guess 18s, or get this caliper off, and then we'll just rotor and pad slap it and we'll be done. All right, we set it back on the ground. As you can see, we've got our new pads and rotors on all the way around. That took about probably 30 minutes, honestly, with the pair of us working on it together. Oh, we got a ladybug on the hood. Is that good luck?
Or a bad omen.
Or a bad omen. You know, I hear those things are poisonous. So let's grab our water pump. So here's an electric Toyota water pump. Insert gasket description joke. It's just a brushless motor. You can actually hear it hitting all the poles in there. I don't know what those are called. It's a good thing it came with directions. OBD's the only word on there I know, and 3000. So that's good. OBD 3000 instructions. We got those working for us. It is located right underneath the dipstick. Straight down of the dipstick, you can see the corner of it. To remove it, you pull out all these tins that hold your airbox on. Probably get most of the airbox out of the way. And it's 5 bolts and one connector. Again, another 20-minute job. Thank you, Toyota. All right, now I need the long wrench over here. Can I trade you? All right. It's just a bunch of rusty tins. Freedom!
Yay!
So there's the water pump. So there's our little water pump. Again, it's just 5 10-millimeter bolts, it looks like, and we'll have that out. There's your one electrical connection. Those might be 12s.
Yeah.
I think those are 12s. Ooh, and just enough room to clear.
Done that a time.
You need a 12 medium, extra medium. All right, so we had to put the car in the air to get to the bottom couple of bolts here. It holds this whole water pump on, and well, you know, the water pump can't come out the bottom. So once you get the wheel off, there's a panel here attached with about 5 or 6 little quick disconnects. You pop your little clips out of there, and then your water pump is accessible. Unfortunately, it's got to come out the top. Pump comes out the top, much easier. Let's see. Oh yeah, that thing is like locked up. Feel that?
Hey.
That one's.
There's no question that one's jacked.
This one has little detents in it. You can feel the individual. It's a brushless motor. I don't know what causes it. The magnets.
The spring doesn't.
Wow. Yeah. So this one's got a spring behind it. We're not sure why that's the way it is. But that one does not come out.
It'll come out and then it's stuck. It doesn't want to return without me pushing on it.
Huh, Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one's apparently bad. This one is apparently good. One bolt's holding it in place. We'll get the rest of them ran in there, hook up our connector, throw our intake tube back on, and take it for a drive. About time for lunch anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
We're gonna go take it to lunch now to I guess put some rubber on the road, see what's going on. Then when we return, I think we'll rinse it down and start clay barring this thing, because Cameron decontaminated the paint the other day and the car turned purple. He said it was covered with iron. So, and you can feel it. It feels atrocious. It feels like a 2000 grit sandpaper. So we'll clay bar this thing, get all the contamination off of it, probably hit it with a polish. What do you want?
Yeah, we'll do probably just an enhancement just to try to bring it back. We'll see what we can do with the doors. It's rough. If we can't save them, we can't save them.
Like Cameron said, we'll clay bar it, hit it with a single stage or something on the outside, and we'll probably focus on the interior because it will clean up pretty nice in here. This is where you're going to spend most of your time, so this is where we'll focus our efforts. Anyway, lunch and then back at it. All right, and we're back from lunch, and while we were out running around, we went and stopped at the parts store and grabbed a battery, threw it in there. Only one parts store in town had a battery for this thing. It's a very small, like half-size battery. It's very weird, like 350, maybe 400 cold cranking amps.
3 1/4, yeah.
3 1/4, yeah. Anyway, we threw a new battery in it, and it drove great. Not a single light is on the dash. I didn't notice any problems with the brakes. In fact, it stops better than my other Prius does. It rides smooth. It's nice and quiet. It gets up to speed. The cruise works. The AC works. I think we've got a winner here. It's unfortunate that it looks the way that it does. So we're going to turn our attention now to the outside of the car, and that's by far the worst part of this car. This door has been painted once, and this door has been painted twice. You can see the difference in the reflection there. One is a satin and one's a gloss finish. So we're going to try first. I think Cameron said we're going to clay bar the car, and then we're going to try to polish these doors at minimum to try and bring some shine back to the door, so at least the finish matches. Because the color's not that bad off right now. It's hard to match silver, but they did an okay job here.
Completely wrong.
It's the texture and the sheen that really pulls your eye in. I think if we can solve that, or mostly solve that, we'll be all right. We can't make it really look much worse.
No, absolutely not. The only thing we could make it look worse is if we did all the car and not the 2 doors.
Yeah, true.
But, we'll see.
True. And as Cameron pointed out the other day, and now that I can't unsee it, we've got white mirrors. So we're thinking they would look better black. All right, well, after a couple of short hours polishing, you can see the doors kind of came back to life. There's a bit of discrepancy in the texture and the finish. I don't know. It definitely doesn't pass my test. I wouldn't drive this like this. But I think we're going to try to, oh God, you can hear that. So the doors are semi-polished. We're going to try and roll the way it is now. Hopefully somebody just buys this as a commuter. If not, damn it, I don't even know what to say about these doors. Like, I'm trying to make excuses for these doors. So after a couple hours of polishing on this thing, the doors are still not perfect, and we're going to continue to try and source another pair that are already paint matched, because as you can see, the orange peel is just atrocious, and the texture's not even good. But Cameron's worked his magic. He's polished the headlights, cleaned out front of the hood. We painted the mirrors black. I say we, I mean Cameron painted the mirrors black. Even threw some window tint on that. As you can tell, they all match now. Before, only the rears were tinted. And now we're currently working on the inside. And it's, you know, it feels gross. Every time you work on the inside of a car, you're like, oh, this is the most disgusting thing. But really, I don't think it was that dirty to begin with. It just feels dirty when you're really face to face with it all. You know, here's a French fry, gross. But the seats are, you know, they were gray, now they're brown. We're going to extract it, vacuum out the seats. I think the interior is going to come back to life very nicely. I turned the camera on because I heard Cameron exclaim, "Oh, disgusting." He does this for a living, mind you, and he said, when I say that's disgusting, that means something. But here's the center console lid we pulled out of there, and it is filthy.
Do a tiny little touch in
there. Ew. It's like engine oil coming out of that thing.
Pretty clean. Just one little swipe.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah, and that's every time you're in here, you put your arm on that.
Every sweaty elbow.
Every time. Nothing you can do about it. Some steam, some disinfectant, a little all-purpose cleaner, and freaking gloves.
Oh, there's a blackness coming out of that thing.
Yeah.
Ugh. Looks like you just changed its oil.
We'll do this a couple more times just to make sure it's good.
This rear panel looks like it was rarely used. I would think if you bought the V, you would want this back panel, and I would expect it to be trashed, but it's really not that bad at all. The whole car is really not that bad. I mean, it's dirty, but cars just get dirty.
Especially cloth seats, the gray cloth seats.
Yeah.
And Toyotas, their cloth seats are, I don't know how to explain it.
Like
they get dirty pretty bad.
They're like that suede that just absorbs liquid, absorbs sweats, and
it's almost like a microfiber material.
Yeah. Alcantara.
You can say that.
I think the worst part of the interior is this driver's seat. It looks like somebody, looks like they shortcutted it getting in and out. They like to slide in and out of the car instead of kind of putting your feet out and standing upright. So the cushions and the foam is kind of worse for wear, but it looks like they also like to drive with a drink in their lap. I think we'll be able to extract all of that.
We hope that was drinking their lap.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that out loud because I already touched it. All right, we're going to put my hand back on it. All right, we're going to go back to work here and extract all these seats, vacuum out the floors, and I don't know, we'll be back. We're very close to, I think, listing this thing.
Yeah, so we're right there.
You know, I try to be polite before and say that, you know, interiors just look dirty and they're really not, and it just seems worse than it really is, but I don't know, now we're in the thick of it. I saw Cameron hit these seats with some steam, and I thought I better grab the camera. You can see he steamed this side already, and I'm sure you can already tell it's way cleaner than that side. What are we doing here, Cameron?
So pre-treat with, most of this isn't crazy, like there's not specific stains, it's just grime and dirt and whatnot. So I hit spot with some Full-X and then pre-treated everything. The stuff that I've been using, I've been trying some different stuff, but this is Zap It from Superior with a little bit of American Detail to Garage F-Bomb. The F-Bomb gives a little bit of suds because Zap It doesn't have any suds. Let it sit for a while, however long it takes, doesn't really matter. And then smack it with some steam and then a drill brush and then hot water extraction. And that pretty much does it. Sometimes you got to do it a couple times, but that pretty much does it.
So that's the recipe for chocolate milk?
That's the recipe for chocolate milk. It works on most everything. The steam is really the key. The chemicals help, and unless you have specific stains, like some specific proteins, enzymes, whatever, that chemical, Full-X works great. You can buy it at Lowe's. It's, I don't know, $12 a gallon or something like that. Works great for spots. You can use it on headliners and stuff. Anybody can use it. And then the other is kind of just an area treatment. And I'll hit this with steam and you can see
oh yeah.
and then we'll hit it with the drill brush.
Ah, it's getting on me. Ah.
Then we'll come back with the hot water extraction. Let that sit. It really, as long as it doesn't dry, you can let it sit really however long. It typically works out. You can just get around the vehicle and then come back and start hot water extracting wherever you started.
Cool. I assume the F-bomb is important to the suds to bring the dirt out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just pushing it into the foam, right?
Yeah, and see, I don't like too much suds because then the extractor can't ever get it out. So you don't want to use like actual soap. But the ADG F-bomb is actually an all-purpose cleaner, which I generally don't like using APCs on cloth. It's not really the right tool. However, that F-bomb gives it just enough suds where it'll pull it out, and it doesn't screw with the extraction too much. It doesn't make it to where you have to extract it 3, 4, 5, 6 times to get all the soap out.
Right, right.
And it helps some of the deeper grease areas, like this. I guarantee you F-bomb's helping this quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it's not much. In 2 gallons, it's probably 3 or 4 ounces. So it's not much. So, but it tends to work out pretty well. I've tried a lot of different ways, and I have a whole lot of different upholstery cleaners, but that system works pretty well.
Gotcha.
And then the driver's seat.
Oh, as you can imagine, the driver's seat's the worst seat. They always are. I almost sat in this wet seat.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Glad I didn't.
Get some light on the subject. Same story. I did nothing different here, except for I did the whole thing with Folex to really start bringing this out. The feel is way different. This is like you're sticking your hand almost like in motor oil or ATF or something.
Ew.
Yeah.
So that was that dark stain from between the driver's legs. Are you getting like a coffee smell off that?
There's coffee, and you can truly, you can smell like body oils and.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, if you're being honest here, that's what it is.
That's disgusting.
It is. And so if you've never had your vehicle detailed, or if you haven't, this is what you're sitting on.
Yeah.
And
it's like
this vehicle only has 110,000 miles, 112, whatever. And it's only, what, 7 years old, 8 years old? So,
that's some true memory foam. It holds everything.
Oh, it holds everything. Yep.
All right. Well, that's the slow, painstaking process of scrubbing and extracting the seats. Thankfully, Cameron's here to do all the heavy lifting. I'm just kind of hanging out, providing some moral support, I think, at this point. But I'm going to let him get back to work, and we'll see the finished product. All right, so that's the process. Once you've got it soaked and steamed and foamed, you hit it with the extractor next, and Cameron is about to do that. Here comes the chocolate milk. All right, after many hours of scrubbing and polishing and sanding, honestly, oh, man, we didn't sand anything. All right, after many hours of sanding and, what did I say, sanding? It's just, we didn't sand. I hate myself. Yep. All right, after many hours of washing and polishing, it's as done as it's going to get. And honestly, it looks 10 times better than it did when it rolled in here, and it runs and stops way better than it probably did since it was new. So, not really much more to say about it. We did tint the windows, even put an eyebrow on top. Thank you, Cameron. Now, all the windows match. It's got fresh brakes, a new battery. I don't know if I mentioned that. We did put a 12-volt battery in it because we think that might have been half the problem. The brakes were shot. Maybe it pulled some air into the pump. We're not really sure. But a low battery on a new car is never a good thing, and this battery was still the original battery. So it's 10 years old. It was time. So we threw $200 at it. A new battery, new brakes, new tires, new polishing, extracted. The seats look, well, they look a million times better. They're not perfect. It is a 10-year-old car, but I think it's ready to find a new home. So we're going to back it out, take a couple pictures, and list it on the old internets probably tomorrow morning. And hopefully by next weekend, this thing is gone and we can move on to the next project. Well, I couldn't help myself. I got to take it for one last drive. It drives so good now with the new brakes, fresh tires, a new battery, a fresh detail inside and out. It smells like a brand new car. Actually, it smells better than a brand new car. It smells amazing in here. It's ugly, it's slow, but it's dependable. It's a Toyota. It'll drive 300,000 miles probably with no problems. You know, we're at 112,000 miles and it needed its first brake job. So that pretty much sums up a Toyota. We'll get this thing listed in the morning and hopefully get it gone within the week, and we'll reinvest that money into something cooler, hopefully, for the channel. And please stay tuned to see what that might be. And get out there and, I don't know, get out there and wrench on something. Go do something. Get off the couch. Quit watching these YouTube videos and go do something productive.